Welcome back to Reds Fusion LFC, your home for all the breaking Liverpool news, drama, and deep dives into the Reds' journey. Today we've got a massive update, a shocking new Premier League title twist, a controversial referee verdict, and Arne Slot facing some huge decisions on transfers and tactics. Plus, a Liverpool star has been slammed by legends after a horrendous display. Stay tuned. This is going to be an episode you won't want to miss. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to stay updated with every twist and turn in the transfer window. Liverpool handed new Premier League title twist as Arsenal. Truth becomes clearer. Liverpool news as the Reds' lead at the top of the Premier League is narrowed after a disappointing afternoon at Crystal Palace. Liverpool's lead at the top of the Premier League table has been narrowed to just 2 points after Arsenal came from behind to seal a huge 3 points at Newcastle United. Despite not playing at their best, Arne Slot's men had previously won all 5 of their opening games. Last week's Merseyside derby win over Everton and Arsenal's draw with Manchester City meant the Reds sat 5 points clear at the top of the table. However, this weekend, they suffered their first defeat of the season at Selhurst Park. Federico Chiesa thought he had rescued a point with a late equalizer in the 87th minute. But Hugo Ekitike netted a winner in the 7th minute of injury time. Arsenal's antics in Newcastle then compounded the defeat at Palace. After falling behind to Nick Woltemade's first-half opener, the Gunners scored 2 goals in the latter stages to seal victory. Mikel Merino came off the bench to head the North Londoners level in the 84th minute before Gabriel Magalhaes rose the highest from a corner to head the ball into the empty net in injury time. The result on Sunday means Arsenal are now on 13 points, just 2 off Liverpool. Despite still being top of the table, the Reds have struggled to reach the performance levels of last season. Fortunately, the games come thick and fast with a trip to Galatasaray in the Champions League before attention turns to Chelsea. Slot's charges travel to Stamford Bridge next Saturday. In the last 15 days, Enzo Maresca's men have beaten only Lincoln City in the League Cup and lost to Bayern Munich, Manchester United, and Brighton and Hove Albion. For Arsenal, the next week is easier on paper. The Gunners take on Greek side Olympiacos on Wednesday, before taking on 19th-placed West Ham United at home next Saturday. New Crystal Palace versus Liverpool. Referee verdict emerges that would alter dramatic defeat latest. Liverpool News, as a refereeing expert, explains why one call was wrong in the Reds' defeat at Crystal Palace. Liverpool's late equalizer that almost salvaged a draw during Saturday's drama-laden defeat to Crystal Palace should not have been allowed to stand. That is the opinion of former head of the refereeing body PGMOL, Keith Hackett. The Reds had been in search of an equalizer to Ismaila Sarr's opener for the majority of the match at Selhurst Park. They finally found one in the 87th minute, as Federico Chiesa reacted quickest in the penalty area when a deflection took the ball into his path. However, Hackett strongly believes that the goal should have been chalked off because of an alleged handball by Mohamed Salah in the build-up. It is difficult to understand when you see on video replay the deliberate handball from Salah, who has made his body shape larger, reaching out to the sky, Hackett blasted. Speaking to Football Insider, there is a relationship problem or a technical problem because the video evidence is clear and obvious that a handball incident took place. It should be penalized. Full stop. As Chiesa's goal was allowed to stand, it set up the grandstand finish for Palace to take all 3 points for themselves. Hugo Ekitike was in the correct place at the correct time and fired beyond Alisson, unchallenged in the 97th minute. This brought Liverpool's 5-game winning streak at the start of the 2025-26 campaign to an abrupt end and shrunk their lead on points at the top of the Premier League table. But had it been ruled out, as Hackett states should have been the outcome, the final 3 minutes of regulation time, plus what was afforded as stoppage time, would have been altered. Perhaps the Reds would have found a different breakthrough without reply, or their hosts might have rubber-stamped their victory beyond question. Arne Slot faces major Hugo Ekitike decision as Liverpool considered defensive. Overhaul Liverpool are next up against Galatasaray in the Champions League, with Arne Slot facing some selection. Posers Liverpool were on the receiving end of late drama this time, when they were beaten 2-1 at Crystal Palace on Saturday afternoon in the Premier League. Ismaila Sarr put the Londoners ahead early on, and although substitute Federico Chiesa equalized in the 87th minute, Eddie Nketiah notched deep into an elongated additional period to send the Reds tumbling. To their first top-flight loss of the campaign, Arne Slot's side now face another major test of their Champions League credentials when they travel to Turkey to take on Galatasaray on Tuesday evening. And here we look ahead to the changes Slot could make when his team are next in action. Konate concerned there has been plentiful rotation from Slot in recent weeks, and that is likely to continue again as Liverpool prepare for a second of 3 away games inside 8 days. Right back has proven something of a problem position with neither Connor Bradley nor Jeremy Frimpong having properly staked a claim for a regular start. Dominic Szoboszlai has arguably been the best in the role this campaign when playing out of position, while Joe Gomez is another option. Gomez is also an alternative at center-back, with Ibrahima Konate having struggled at Palace alongside skipper Virgil van Dijk. Wataru Endo could also feature in defense over the coming months, with Giovanni Leone now out for the season. At left back, Milos Kerkez has edged ahead of Andy Robertson once more, although the latter has started Liverpool's 2 midweek games so far this campaign, including when scoring in the Champions League opener against Atletico Madrid. Alisson Becker demonstrated against Palace why he is the world's best goalkeeper, with Georgi Mamardashvili ahead of Freddie Woodman as the Brazilian's deputy. Wirtz' decision slot attempted a different midfield approach at the weekend, with Florian Wirtz operating in a free role before returning to his recognized number 10 position after halftime. It seems unlikely the Liverpool boss will veer from his regular 4-2-3-1 in Istanbul. But Wirtz will be under pressure from both Szoboszlai and Curtis Jones for a start, although he impressed against Atletico a fortnight ago. Szoboszlai, Jones, and Endo are also alternatives to Alexis McAllister, alongside Ryan Gravenberch at the base of the midfield, with the Argentina international still struggling to regain full sharpness after injury. Teenager Trey Nyoni started the League Cup win over Southampton last midweek and is likely to be among the substitutes. Gakpo back? With Hugo Ekitike back from suspension and Federico Chiesa now part of the Champions League squad, Slot has a decision to make over who leads the attack with Alexander. Isak, having got through 84 minutes on Saturday, Chiesa is also an alternative to Mohamed Salah on the right after the Egyptian had a rare shocker against Palace. Cody Gakpo will be pressing for a recall on the left flank, with 17-year-old Rion Gumoha once again getting minutes from the bench at the weekend. Jayden Danns, though, is out having suffered an injury when playing for the under-21s at the weekend. Arne Slot sent concerned Florian Wirtz message after changing position of Liverpool star Florian Wirtz, and Liverpool struggled in the first half against Crystal Palace this weekend, but looked better when Arne Slot changed his system at the halftime break. Liverpool midfielder Florian Wirtz, who was signed for a fee that could reach $157 million, $116 million, including add-ons, doesn't make Arne Slot's best team at the moment, according to the former Chelsea player Tony Cascarino. The soccer pundit and Liverpool fan has been unimpressed by what Wirtz has shown in the small sample size to date. Last week, Wirtz himself said that he wasn't worried about his form and that he is still adjusting to a new league. He played on the left yesterday, and they're trying to shoehorn him into the team, Cascarino said on TalkSport. I think he's better as a number 10. But he hasn't played particularly well yet. We all know he's a talent. But every week that goes by and he hasn't found his feet or looks like he's getting brighter. He's actually gone backwards since the start of the season. I thought in the Community Shield he probably played his best game so far for Liverpool, which he had an impact in. It's early days and I'm not going after him. But I'm concerned by his performance because it's not been good. Wirtz is likely to feature in both games this week as Liverpool plays Galatasaray in the Champions League and then Chelsea at Stamford Bridge in the Premier League. But Cascarino believes that his place in the startings of Intis could be in jeopardy as a result of his slow start to life in England. Well, not under current form, Cascarino said when asked if he is in Liverpool's best team. He's not played well enough to actually be in the starting lineup. I don't see that at all. But whether it's when he was in Germany playing, he had slightly more time. He keeps getting caught on the ball, he's trying intricate passes, and they're not coming off. Wirtz has played 6 games for Liverpool so far in the Premier League. Last season, he scored 16 goals and created another 15 for Bayer Leverkusen in all competitions. Liverpool star slammed by club legends after horrendous display. He couldn't pass. Ibrahima Konate was given a torrid time by Jean-Philippe Mateta in the first half of Liverpool's 2-1 loss to Crystal Palace, with the defender coming in for criticism from a number of pundits. Liverpool legends Steve Nicol and Michael Owen have both criticized Ibrahima Konate following his display in the Reds' 2-1 defeat to Crystal Palace. The France international had a particularly difficult first half at Selhurst Park, continuing his inconsistent start to the season. The defender's contract is set to expire next summer, leaving his future at Anfield uncertain. Real Madrid are reportedly among the clubs interested in signing the 26-year-old should he not renew his contract with Liverpool. Konate has had a mixed start to the season amid the ongoing uncertainty and speculation. While he's shown in wins against Arsenal and Everton, he has also struggled in a number of other outings. This was evident again in the Reds' loss to Palace, where he struggled against Eagles striker Jean-Philippe Mateta. Ismaila Sarr put Palace ahead inside 9 minutes before Federico Chiesa grabbed an equalizer in the 87th minute. Eddie Nketiah scored a stoppage-time winner for the home side as the reigning Premier League champions fell to their first league defeat of the current campaign. Nicol, who won 4 league titles, the European Cup and 3 FA Cups during his time at Liverpool, was unimpressed by his former club's performance at Selhurst Park. Criticizing their defensive efforts, he singled out Konate at the center of their issues. It would be really harsh to pull one person out, but I think the man that was at the start of it was Konate, he said on ESPN. He had an absolutely, unbelievably horrendous first half. He couldn't pass the ball properly. He kept giving fouls away. He got booked. He's trying to fight Mateta. I know Konate's a big lad, but Mateta's bigger than him, and you've got to use your brains. Unfortunately, today, Konate didn't use any brains whatsoever. So he kicked it off, and it almost kind of spread like a disease after that. Everybody giving the ball away. And when you give a ball away against Crystal Palace, it is really the thing they do best. They exploit mistakes from the opposition, and then they get at you quickly going forward. Only some poor finishing, particularly from Mateta, is the reason that Liverpool were still in this game at all. The truth of the matter is that all of the things Liverpool didn't do well today are the same things they haven't done well all season. Liverpool's backline just doesn't look composed at all. Yes, you would hope the midfield can stop the opposition getting at the backline as often as it does. But at the end of the day, the backline is there to do the job, and right now it doesn't look comfortable. Anytime it is asked to defend, whether it is today or the previous games, Liverpool might be sitting top of the league still. But Arne Slot still has a lot of questions that need answering that he hasn't quite found the answer to yet. Nicol wasn't alone in his critique of Konate's performance, with fellow ex-Liverpool player Owen also expressing concern over his first-half display, noting it wasn't a one-off subpar performance. I don't know whether it was tiredness, but they rested a fair few players in midweek in the Carabao Cup, he said, as relayed by Sport Bible. They weren't their usual selves. We are early in the season, I'd be hesitant to blame it on tiredness. I mean, Konate in the first half didn't know what he was doing. I can't say that it was because of rustiness or tiredness. We've seen 1 or 2 performances like that from him this season that have been quite similar. I wouldn't use that excuse. I would give praise to Crystal Palace. They're a proper team. They've beaten Liverpool in the Community Shield. It wasn't a fluke. I'd be more inclined to say Palace played very well. Meanwhile, former Manchester City defender Micah Richards confessed his growing concerns about Konate this season. Konate is starting to worry me a little bit, he admitted on Match of the Day. Him and Van Dijk have been a good partnership, but his individual errors at this moment in time are just making the backline look a bit nervy. You know, Liverpool always look good in defense. Van Dijk always marshals the backline, but they give Palace too many opportunities for no actual reason. It was just being sloppy, and that is so unlike Liverpool.